Hello and welcome to my channel. I am Cynthia Maynard and I do cooking and art here. Today I have a cooking video. Some lamb shanks is what you see in the picture here in their raw form, and then I have my prepped potatoes, carrots, and onions to the side there. I'm using my Instant Pot slow cooker just to save a step because this has a Dutch oven, cast iron Dutch oven in it, and that's removable. You can actually use this in the oven. I think I have another video on this. It's a great buy if you can get a hold of one still. It really saves an extra step of, searing these on your stovetop because that's what we're doing here. I added oil to the inside of the pot and I'm searing them. They have a sear button on this particular model. And the lamb shanks, as you can see here, which is the lower leg of the lamb, which I think is delicious. I'm not sure why more Americans don't eat lamb. It drives the cost up when I don't know, I don't get it, but it's delicious. It's delicious. You just cook it correctly. I don't know. It's great stuff. But anyway, so these are the shanks. So this is a little less expensive than say buying lamb chops or things like that. This if you're looking to cut down with something. I think this is at Whole Foods about $6.99 a pound, so not a bad price. So anyways, and it is on the bone, which you can probably kind of see on that larger one there. So basically we're searing this on both sides. I have seasoned it with salt and pepper and I think garlic powder, I can't remember, but we're going to add some more things here in a bit, and I will have links below and I'll have the recipe below. This is basically it's going to end up being a stew-like concoction, I guess, if you can call it that way. Or you can just cook these in some chicken broth or something and then pull them out and use the meat. You can do it that way. You can use the same method here. But they need to be cooked for quite a while, kind of like you approach, like any sort of tougher meat, because it's walking around on its legs. So anyways, opposed to like a tenderloin where that muscle isn't being used as much. So as long as you cook it for long enough, it just pulls right off the bone and it's so delicious. And you can use this leftovers in sandwiches and things like that. So if you have an oblong slow cooker, that might even be better. That way you can fit a few more in, or you can sear these in droves and then, not, you know what I'm saying, like in batches, and and then put all of them in and then continue with the steps that I have there. But I just happen to have 3 that I had purchased. I wish I had gotten more, but I did not at this particular time. So anyways, taking those out now, and you get all the lovely bits there on the bottom, just like you would do this on the stovetop. If you don't have one of these kinds of slow cookers, you would do all of this stuff on the stovetop. Slow top. So I'm putting the olive oil in there, and then we're going to add our veg, and that's going to kind of get all the yummy bits on the bottom as well cooked into that. And I prepped this ahead of time. I have some golden potatoes, organic. I've got organic carrots and organic onions. You can use whatever you have. You could put sweet potatoes in here. You could do celery, all sorts of ways. You can do red onion, whatever potato you have. I just happen to like golden potatoes because I don't always know what I'm going to make, and I feel like it's a good middle of the road potato, so that has a lot of uses. But whatever potatoes you have, use those and throw that in, and you could put your chopped garlic. Maybe it would be a good time in a few minutes here to do that. And then basically just starting to get some of that moisture out before we do the slow cook process there. So it's a pretty easy recipe, kind of set it and forget it kind of a thing once you get past the searing step. And like I said, you could skip that step you could throw all this stuff in and just cook it, you could do that. Probably better. You'll enjoy it more if you do this, but I put some red wine vinegar in there just to kind of give it a little acidity, a little zhuzh, as it's going to be cooked for a long time. I've got some tomato paste there. I love buying the tubes because rarely do I use more than a couple tablespoons at a time, and it just sits in the fridge waiting for me in those like toothpaste kind of tubes. So, and tomato paste is going to add a rich depth of flavor there. And then just swirling that around so that it's coating the veg nice and evenly. Super easy. This is and rather affordable, other than the lamb chops, which are, in my opinion, somewhat affordable compared to other things. Putting in a can of diced tomatoes. You could use crushed tomatoes if you don't want diced tomatoes. You could use fire roasted tomatoes, which would be really tasty. What else have we got here? I've got chicken broth. You could use veggie broth. Use whatever broth you have. You could even use beef broth. I don't tend to have beef broth on hand, but unless I make beef broth from a roast or something, but I didn't happen to have any, so I just used chicken broth. There's my head. I was smelling it just for a second. But anyways, salt and pepper and oregano. What else are we putting in there? You gotta have oregano with lamb. They just go together. They really like each other. And swirling that around. Gotta get it off my spoon. And just basically seasoning this up. And then gonna cook it. Now, I did originally make this while we were gone at church. I set this so it needed more time, so we ended up having sandwiches, and then I cooked it again the next day, and it was perfect. So I would definitely say that this needs, it's kind of an all-day thing kind of deal, like a roast would be, just because you want that lamb to be pull apart tender, and it, is delicious. Now, sorry, I did not take pictures. We were so hungry. We just got right in there. There's the leftovers stewy bit, so you could pull the meat off and then put that in there, and then you've got yourself a soup. Or you could strain that out and defat it, and you got yourself a whole bunch of good things. But there are the bones. Sorry, guys. It was tasty. Try it out. Leave comments below if you have questions. I will leave the recipe below. And of course, hit all those links. Like, share, and subscribe. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much and have a great day.